Viewers, this is me, Najib. As you might have seen me in some of other programs as well, where I was doing with Qaid-e-Azam University. Today, I am lucky enough to invite in my studio one of a very important guest, where I have a lot of attachments, as I am the alumni of Liberal Academy back in Gummersbach, and Liberal Forum was the main. Liberal Forum and Liberal Academy was the main source in my knowledge and in my experience. And today we have invited Birgit Lamm in our studio. You are welcome, Birgit, to Power 99.
Thank you so much, Najib Saab. For me, it's really an honor and a pleasure to be here because I've just learned from my colleagues that Power 99 has a long-standing history with Friedrich Naumann Foundation. So a lot of our colleagues for more than 10 years have supported you even from the start of this radio station. And just having a chat with you and your colleagues right now, I'm
Yes.
absolutely amazed of how you are doing now in these COVID times and how much good you can do to local communities.
Yeah, definitely. When there were some challenges, there were some opportunities as well. But as you see, this digital media and stuff
Yeah.
all became more relevant after COVID-19. And that's why you see we are trying to link with more universities, with our educational institutions. Because how was your visit to Pakistan as an head of FNST here? How did you find it, meeting different people, going to the different places as you came here before as well?
Well, anyway, I've always felt a passion to explore things, to go out, to see for myself. This is also why I opted and chose to become a representative of FNF working abroad and not only in Germany, because I feel personally enriched to do that. I came to Pakistan between 2008 and 2010 three times, only as a visitor. The then country director invited me. I was director of the International Academy for Leadership back in Germany, and we had lots of very committed participants in our courses from Pakistan. And here in Pakistan, we wanted to establish an alumni network, and I came to help our local colleagues to kickstart this
Yes, I
alumni
remember
workshop,
that.
and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you're one of them as well. So I came and I really enjoyed the hospitality, the commitment, and although 2008 to 2010 was a difficult time for Pakistan, I was always happy to come to see for myself and also support people and give them this support to say, you're facing difficult times, but we are with you and we support you. And so when I was offered to take on this position of country director a year ago, I never really had to consider it twice. I wanted to see for myself. I wanted to see how things had developed, and I'm happy to be here.
Most of the people say Pakistan is a very dangerous country, a very difficult country to work. As you have long experience, I would like to know your opinion because you've been here. Yeah.
Well, of course, what you read in the media and also what the media in Europe and in the West depict is obviously never what's the reality on the ground for local people. I mean, you're from the media yourself, so you know very often only bad news is good news. And then you feel when you listen to the radio that it's only about crisis, it's natural disasters, maybe it's some political scandal or something going on. But very often for local people, the reality of normal everyday life is different. So I wanted to see for myself, and I always felt very comfortable because back then I was invited by my local colleagues, and I was sure they would never have invited me if it wasn't safe for me to come. And now also why I'm here, there's never, let's say, 100% security nowhere in life. And I was pretty happy to come. I enjoy living in Islamabad. And I mean, now we are living a situation with this pandemic where the whole world is facing a new type of challenge that we wouldn't have thought of before. But I mean, we need to live with it, we need to adjust with it, we need to cope with it, but there are also opportunities with it, and I'm very happy to share this with my new neighbors and my colleagues.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
wonderful. As I'll say our organization, as I am part of
Mhm.
that as well, is working on most of the educational development, social development, economic developmental issue, human rights issue. Pakistan is not very well appreciated across the globe on the human rights issue. But how you see our organization is working in this environment where mostly you see we see our journalists are kidnapped and things happen, but the Germans work very wonderfully in my experience. I remember during Musharraf era, one of our cartoonists made a cartoon from the army cap, the democracy is coming in, as the Germans themselves has experienced after the Second World War, developing it and doing it. And how you are taking it here in Pakistan with that experiences?
Well, every society has its challenges, and I feel also with the experience from Germany, democracy is never fully achieved. You have to fight for democracy every day. And it's not just a set of values, a constitution, and the fact that you have elections every 4 or 5 years, but you also need to have a proper mindset how to work democracy. We, as Friedrich Naumann Foundation, we promote democratic values. Our basic idea is we want to work for an environment where people can realize their project of life. And journalism is an incredibly important part of that because you need to have the opportunities to take responsible decisions, informed decisions. Even if you're the most educated person in the world, if you don't have access to reliable information, good information, you're not able to take a very informed, educated decision. So, freedom of expression, access to information is one of our crucial points, and it's also a point that we work on here in Pakistan as well. And this is why we place a lot of emphasis on training journalists on specific issues, for example, like climate change, also rule of law, good governance, and also on reading public budgets.
We see this in Germany. These local
Mm.
governments are very strong, where our
Mm.
foundation as well works deeply in different areas with the local government. How far you were successful in working in Pakistan on the local government and governance issues, which are the main issues?
Well, for us, local government or local governance has always been an important issue because where does a citizen experience public administration? It's normally in his own village, in his town, when he needs to apply for a driving license, get his new CNIC or something like this. So public service delivery is crucial. And we also feel there is an accountability that the government has to give to their citizens because no government generates its own money. They work with taxpayers' money, and that's basically what the citizens voluntarily or not so voluntarily give to the state, and the state has to account for that. So we feel we should do it, especially on the local level, because this is where people feel directly whether they get good service, whether the roads are maintained properly, whether the school buildings are maintained, whether the healthcare system is working properly, whether public administration attends to them and provides a good service. And we are currently running an EU-funded project on local government accountability. And what we actually do is we train local citizens to read district budgets, and our partner CPDI also presents district budgets in an understandable way, especially in the issues which are of most concern to people, which is healthcare, it's education, it's water, it's sanitation. And then these citizens discuss in regular meeting with the local authorities what has become out of this money, how this money is spent, do the infrastructure works that have been presented or planned for, are they actually being implemented? And in a way, we've actually managed to get some improvement by the simple fact that citizens can place their concerns with and shared with the authorities, and that the authorities suddenly have to answer it. I remember, for example, there was one case in Balochistan where citizens shared with the authorities that they were concerned that medical practitioners didn't practice in the local public hospitals, but rather invited their patients to come and see them in their private clinic and, of course, pay for it. And when this issue was raised and discussed with the public officials, in the end, this practice was stopped, and local villagers were actually able to receive medical treatment in the hospitals. And I feel that's great news, especially in these COVID times. So there are humble success stories.
What you foresee in keeping in mind all these challenges for Pakistan, as we've been practicing this local body since the beginning, but somebody will come that they will give importance to the local body. Otherwise, the local bodies are not given that much importance in this parliamentary democracy. I don't know how to develop it, as the politicians who are at MPAs, member of provincial assemblies, or the national assemblies, they look at this as a threat to their powers and their things. How you think we can achieve this and make it sustainable in our
Well,
context?
division of power is everywhere in the world a very tricky issue because there are different interests at stake. We at FNF, we strongly believe in the devolution of power and that people should have a say in arranging their own affairs because they know best what is good for them and what their pressing needs are. Of course, in a situation like here in Pakistan, you have different levels of governments. You have discussions of tasks between the national level, you have the provinces, you have district levels, you have local government, and that's never easy. There will always be discussions. But I feel, first of all, you need to have a clear division of tasks and responsibilities. And for what I've seen, there is quite a huge gray area of responsibilities, which would probably need to be sorted out to have clear responsibilities and also get quick decisions on specific issues. And especially when it comes to disaster management, it comes to pandemics, I feel the first level, which really needs to react, that's what we saw in COVID-19 time as well, was the local level, because they suddenly had to deal with the sick people. So they had to take measures and they need to be supported, but they also need to have clear responsibilities of how to react. And then the other levels need to back up and support. So I feel, of course, there always has to be a discussion about how to go about this work. You need to have responsible coordination as well in specific areas because there are
Awareness
issues
of the
like,
public as well
yeah,
is a
sure.
lot more needed, because most of our population does not know about their rights. It's and the services providing it's not services are not very good. For example, you see this in Islamabad. We are not a kilometer away from the parliament, but we see this local government, local issues. We have a local issues. We don't have problem with the parliament. We have problem with the MCI and the local capital development authority. There's hardly any cleanliness. The environmental issues are there. The businesses, illegal kind of businesses, like one car dealer will bring in to occupy the space for all others. So how you are, educating our youth, particularly we rely a lot on youth towards these issues, towards these economic developmental issues, how youth is being involved through this FNST activity?
Well, first
engage?
of all, as you rightly say, if you have rights, you need to know them and you need to know how to claim your rights. And this is, of course, a part which has to be taken up in education. So, in specific areas, what we do is we provide teacher training, we also provide teaching materials, and then the teachers can teach these subjects at school. We currently do these on climate change issues and also issues of mobility and traffic management. But also when it comes, for example, to the very up-to-date modern issue of digital rights and access to information. I mean, we all use smartphones. The internet has become more and more important. So we also have issues of privacy rights, the access to information. You need to have media literacy because you need to be able to tell whether some piece of information that has been given to you is valid, whether it's safe and sound, and you would like to form your opinion on it, or whether it's not. So we also develop with our partner organizations materials, and we provide training for teachers, but also for students and for ambassadors to work with their peers on these issues of media literacy and internet safety. And in this respect, we support Digital Rights Foundation and also School of Leadership in Karachi, who run courses for young people on media literacy and internet safety. And I feel that's a very important issue because, especially among the young, they receive their information, their entertainment nowadays in the internet.
Yeah, yeah. You've been moving here in Islamabad, Lahore, most of the area. Mostly when the foreigners visit to Pakistan, they begin given advisory that the people ogle you here. How you deal with that? As we are also doing some kind of awareness campaigns here, we want to ask your opinion. How it happens to you when you go to the markets?
Well, of course, I'm a kind of a very exotic animal anyway, because wherever I go, I stick out. I don't look South Asian, so I'm sort of used to being looked at in some ways. I know, especially for ladies and young girls, it is an issue of concern. I've heard it in workshops which we give on women empowerment. And of course, I've also had my funny experience with it. As a Gaudi, of course, I'm a major attraction. And I also do something which, let's say, a lot of Pakistanis, let alone women, do here in Pakistan. I'm from the west of Germany where we love riding our bikes. And I've brought my bike as well. And F6 and F7 has beautiful roads for riding my bike. So I once rode to the market just to get my shopping. It's very nearby. Just went to the bakery, and then suddenly a gentleman who had his whole family squeezed on his motorbike. He just overtook me. I just minded my business. I was focusing on the road, and he was just staring at me, and while he was overtaking me, he turned around and he was not focusing on the road, and suddenly there was this big pothole in front of him, and he nearly caused an accident and smashed his whole family nearly on the road because he was just staring like this at me. I mean, I laughed my head off because, I mean, he practically fell into his own trap in this way. But I can understand that probably some of the ladies, if you're really the main attraction of and uninvited attention of some gentlemen, it's not always a very comfortable thing to be.
Birgit, thank you very much for visiting us, listening to us, and listening your own success story from us.
Okay.
And thank you for your team, Rabia and Anwar Saab. They were kind enough to come along, and we would like to have one interview in your beautiful lawn as well sometime.
Cordially
Then
invited.
definitely. Thank you very much. बहुत शुक्रिया.
बहुत शुक्रिया.